It seems like every new drone that comes out is just more complex, right? More features, more power, but what if the next big leap forward isn't forward at all, but kind of back towards simplicity? Today, we're going to tear down a machine that really challenges what we think of as a next-gen drone. This is the Black Eagle MAR-X7.
I mean, just look at the world of UAVs. The trend is so obvious, isn't it? It's more sensors, more autonomy, more lines of code. It's basically an arms race of features. And that constant push for more, it makes you wonder, are we actually engineering better drones, or are we just making them more complicated?
Well, in response to that very question, something new has popped up, a different breed of drone. This is an aircraft built on a totally different philosophy, one that goes back to the drawing board and rethinks the whole problem of modern flight. So here it is. This is the Black Eagle MAR-X7. Now, yeah, it's a fixed-wing UAV, but honestly, it's so much more than that. It's a statement. It's making the argument that the real path to top-tier performance isn't about adding more stuff, but about perfecting what's absolutely essential. So what's the thinking behind this machine? Let's dive into its design philosophy, the core principles that have guided this thing from the very beginning. It all boils down to this one simple phrase: functionality over complexity. And listen, that isn't just some catchy motto, it's the entire blueprint. This one idea is baked into every single component, every material, and every design choice we're about to look at. So this whole philosophy really rests on three main pillars. First up, aerodynamic efficiency. Squeezing every last drop of performance out of the power it's got. Second, you have structural robustness. The goal here was to create an airframe that's somehow both feather-light and tough as nails. And third, and this is a big one, modular adaptability. This makes sure the drone can evolve with new tech, instead of just getting replaced by it.
All right, let's get into the nitty-gritty, the anatomy of the Eagle itself. We're going to see how those core ideas go from being lines on a blueprint to actual powerful hardware.
Just looking at this blueprint, you can already see what they were going for, right? It's all about those clean lines and a super simple layout. There's no clutter at all. Every single element has a clear purpose, and that starts with its very skeleton. Okay, so the airframe, it's almost entirely carbon fiber composite, and what that gets you is this incredible strength-to-weight ratio. It's rigid enough for high-stress moves, but light enough for really long flights. The straight wings, they give you super predictable stability. And those vertical stabilizers on the wingtips, think of them like the feathers on an arrow. They keep it flying true and give it better control without needing a bunch of complex rudder systems. And this comparison is just perfect. It really shows the journey. On the left, you've got an early prototype. I mean, it works, but it's clearly still in development. And then on the right, you see the final form. That jump to the sleek, almost exhibition-ready carbon fiber, that was a huge decision that boosted both performance and how tough the thing is. So let's pull back and look at the big picture. As you can see, it's a fixed-wing platform built for research. And get this, takeoff is a simple hand launch and it lands right on its belly. That is such a smart design choice because it just gets rid of all the weight and complexity you'd have with traditional landing gear. Now check out where the motor is. Instead of a typical tractor propeller pulling it from the front, the MAR-X7 uses a pusher setup in the back. And you might think, okay, what's a big deal? But this small change has a massive impact. It cleans up the airflow over the wings, cuts down on frontal drag, and just makes the whole aircraft way more efficient. And this whole philosophy of keep it simple carries right on over to the control systems. A lot of UAVs are just loaded down with super complex autonomous code. But the MAR-X7, its electronics are simple and reliable, and that's on purpose. Not only does that make it way easier to maintain, but it lets researchers study the pure, raw aerodynamic behavior of the airframe, without a bunch of software getting in the way and hiding what's really going on.
But the MAR-X7 is more than just a cool machine with some impressive specs. To really get why it's so important, we have to look at its role as a platform for the future.
Yeah, the best way to think about the MAR-X7 isn't as a finished product. It's a research platform. It's basically a laboratory in the sky. Its whole purpose is to be this super stable, reliable foundation where new technologies can be tested, tweaked, and perfected.
And that foundation is incredibly versatile. Because it's so efficient and stable, it's perfect for surveillance missions. Because it's so focused on pure aerodynamics, it's a dream for aerospace research. And that modular design? That just throws the door wide open for testing all sorts of experimental payloads, new sensors, communication systems, you name it.
And really, this is the ultimate payoff of the whole design. By starting with this simple, solid core, the MAR-X7 is basically future-proof. You want to add more advanced autonomous systems down the line? Go for it.
Swap out new sensors? Easy. Integrate different payloads? No problem. The foundation is just so strong, it can adapt to whatever the future throws at it.
So what does all this mean for the future of flight? I mean, what can the Black Eagle really teach us about where aerospace engineering is headed? Well, it leaves us with a really important lesson about simplicity.
And it leaves us with a really interesting question. As we start designing the next generation of flying machines, is the goal just to cram in as much tech as we possibly can? Or should we follow the MAR-X7's lead and really focus on perfecting the fundamentals of flight? The Black Eagle MAR-X7 makes a really powerful case, doesn't it? It's proof that in this age where everything is getting more and more complex, maybe the most radical innovation is to go back to elegant, purposeful simplicity. It's a great reminder that the strongest foundation isn't always the most complicated one. It's the one that's been engineered to perfection.